Hello guys, welcome back to my reviews. So in this one we are talking about two movies, of course, obviously. These two come from Netflix actually, which I watched recently. Actually, I think like recent Netflix discoveries actually. Well, one discovery, one I knew about was advertised, of course, and decided to watch it really. Obviously through curiosity because I had nothing else to do on one night really. So as the title suggests, we'll get through them anyway. So you probably one you'll know, one you probably won't. So the first one I'll probably say you probably won't know really, or unless if you're a Netflix fanatic really, if you're into your Netflix, is Day Shift. Now this is a film that come out just last year really. It stars Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, and Snoop Dogg. It's two vampire hunters in Florida. Jamie Foxx plays a pool cleaner who's basically a vampire hunter as well, part of an organisation he is. He is, I think, doing like stuff for freelance he is, but also he gets brought back to the organisation that he was originally part of, but he ended up getting taken out of, really, due to it's like being in the police force, really. Obviously, you know, they do slip ups, like do damage or maybe kill some innocent bystanders or whatnot, or, you know, something like that. And basically, you know, he gets him back in, but he also had to be accompanied by a new recruit. This guy in the suit, who's played by Dave Franco. He's by the book, you know. But in Rule 214 and everything else, we mustn't charge, and so forth and so forth. Really, typical sort of uptight, smart ass, really. Type fella, with glasses and suit and everything else, basically he has to be saddled with, really. And he plays that sort of buddy cop formula. He does. It's not too bad actually. I think Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco are perfectly fine, really. You got your main villain, of course, main vampire, really, who's basically, I'm trying to think who it is now. Sugar. They sort of, again, like a realist, something like he's like a millionaire mogul trying to again basically take over Florida or where Jamie Foxx's character is living, really. That sort of thing. Like it's, they're building new stuff, but it's things like housing vampires or something like that, really. And she's just planning to take over, really, as vampires do. Obviously, Fox and Franco and Snoop Dogg, he's Fox's mentor, decide to take them on, really. I had an interesting film. It's an interesting thing with this film. I always get stuff like you get stuff like, again, the boy formula you get from Dusk Till Dawn in there. You also get stuff like maybe like Van Helsing as well mixed in with it. I do like the idea of Jamie Foxx is he's a vampire hunter, but he's also this part-time during the day. He's like he's a pool cleaner. For this. I think he just probably goes around, really, to pick up truck and just cleans pools, really, around Florida, really. That's his sort of job, really. And also he's battling the custody of his daughter with his ex-wife or whatnot as well. So you have that sort of domestic family thing going on as well in between. I didn't mind it actually. It's an okay film, really. I won't say it's flat out funny or brilliant or anything else. I think it's just like it's a bit of a popcorn. It's a bit like a popcorn movie, really. Maybe in some regards. It's alright, really. I just put it on just for it's nothing. I might give it a go. I thought it was alright, so I thought that's interesting. I thought it's it's perfectly fine. I think with vampire films, of course, it's either you do like a remake of Bram Stoker's Dracula, or you might do something different. I think the only time they probably did something different would have been something like From Dusk Till Dawn, really. Do like an interesting take on them, really. Maybe do. What's the other films? Or maybe it's like Underworld, I don't know. Or I'm trying to think of any others. Very Days of Night, really. In that sort of regard. But it is, really. I just think it's I just think it's all right, really. I think I've got nothing else to say to it, really. I've just viewed it, really, just out of necessity, out of curiosity, really. It's one of those films. It's all right. I do like some post-credit sequence when Snoop Dogg emerges out the sewer. Of course, like you think he's dead, but he emerges out smoke, of course, and tries to smoke a joint at the end. Still surviving, really. I don't know what Snoop Dogg's other films he's been in. I know he's been in a film called Bones, which I sort of haven't seen. I think it's like a ghost detective, apparently, that film. I might have to check that out. really. I think there's been a few other films as well. I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to think on the top of my head. I don't know really. He probably cameoed in a few films as himself. I don't know. But it's all right fun. You know, you got Jamie Foxx. He's pretty good. You know, he's done some good films. Of course, he's done not so good films as well. I mean, this is all middling. This is, you know, in terms of his performances. You know, but he's always there. You basically got him. It's like, you know what, let's see how it goes. It might be a bit of fun film. He might have it up or something. I don't know. Give something really pretty funny. Who knows? But yeah, it's all right film really. I just watched it out of curiosity. Nothing else to say really in that film, but if you want to give it a go, it's on Netflix anyway. Just check it out. You know, I think it was recommended though in like the top 10. Maybe that's why I just checked it out. Who knows? There we go, guys. So that's Day Shift from 2022, and moving on to the next film, of course, in this video, which of course is Glass Onion and Knives Out Story, come out just on the 23rd of December, just the day before Christmas Eve, really. So I watched this because I know it was advertised, of course. It was advertised because they were doing a sequel. They were to Knives Out from 2019, which I've only seen briefly. I saw what briefly on Night Shift I did. I haven't seen the whole film really, so I might do at some point. Well, I've watched this, of course. I know about, Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc and stuff like that. It's Ryan Johnson's, love letter to Agatha Christie, the murder mysteries, that type of thing, but add his own twist to it as well. And yeah, I just think it's, and again, Ryan Johnson he's an interesting filmmaker. He is. Obviously, people are divided on some of his films, like Looper, Last Jedi springs to mind as well, of course. But obviously, he's done, with the Knives Out films, he's up to his game. He has, he's done good. Also, he directed that Breaking Bad episode with The Fly. He did as well. So that it's quite interesting, really. So this film obviously is set in Greece, I think it is. I'm not too sure because the first one was saying New England. This is saying Greece, so it's like a totally different location, of course, to the first one, really, because it's like typical grey. Because people think always could be set in Britain and everything else. No, we're just saying New England, of course. So and then the sequel takes place in two very like exotic locations, very exotic sunshine, and very landscape, very picturesque. Beaches and stuff like that. Small island in the middle of nowhere. Again, pretty good stuff. I'm interested to see what the third one might do. My Ryan Johnson might thinking, oh well, we'll do this then. We'll take place in, I don't know, Iceland or something like that. I don't know, in the middle of the Arctic or something like, or Alaska. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what he comes up with the third one. Daniel Craig, I actually really think he's really good in this. Of course, I'm not too sure because I always thought, with his character Benoit Blanc, of course, I think he does. This film I never really seen much of. Well, I've seen again little tidbits of Knives Out, but I never saw the whole thing really. In this one, I always think, I look at this is from the perspective of someone who actually has only seen the sequel, not the first one. Interestingly, he's quite buffoonish in this one. I think it's pretty interesting because I never see Daniel Craig in a buffoonish role. Really, you see him very straight laced and everything else in all the films, and all these films he's done in his career and everything else. I always felt like it's like at this point, it's like he's loosening up a bit. He is in his acting career, and I always thought, that's pretty. It's that sort of thing. It's funny as well. He does add that sort. He adds that sort of humor as well. Again, buffoonish quality, but a very good detective. Very very smart indeed, very on the nose, but has that buffoonish, he has a clown mask on. But underneath, there's all this sort of, all this stuff, and he comes on like a very funny, charming person indeed, and good way bit of dialogue as well. Some funny, good stuff. I really do enjoy his performance. You've also got the remaining cast members like Edward Norton, Dave Bautista, Madeline Klein, who else? Kate Hudson is in as well. Pretty good stuff. They're really good section of characters as well. I always thought, what's going to happen to this film, of course? Is Edward Norton going to get killed, really? Obviously, we'd say it's a bit Dave Bautista who gets poisoned. He does. And we've also got the interesting the thing about Annie as well, the character of Annie, later in the film, obviously it builds up. It does. You think like, oh shit, she's been shot dead, of course, and but it's reveal it does reveal you know, it's twin sister, a sister, no, her sister actually, who pretends to be her sister. If you get it, if you've seen the film, and I thought that's interesting. That's pretty you know. Obviously, her and Benoit. Well, she goes to see Benoit in his apartment. In the most ridiculous thing, of course, he's living in his apartment with Hugh Grant, who's his flatmate, and Benoit Blanc's been stuck in the bath for about five days because of lockdown. Because lockdown is heavily implied in this film, interestingly, because Benoit has no case of offence, and he's been basically living in a bathtub for 5 days, drinking wine, doing Skadoodle, crosswords, and all sorts. And some of his friends online doing the computer he basically communicates with, try and play him, let him, decide to, introduce him to Among Us, and he hasn't a clue how to do it. He's rubbish at it, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And also he wears a fez as well in the bath, interesting, smokes cigars and drinks wine and stuff. And he's like, I don't get this. I actually don't get this, I need a really good case, and that sort of thing. And his family knocks on the door. You're in the bath again. You're in the bloody bath again, mate. It's like, locked, keeps himself in the bath. It's like Brian Wilson in his fucking bedroom. It's pretty hilarious stuff. Really good. I had a really good blast in this film. Good location, good direction, good characters, interesting turn-outs for the characters as well. In terms, you feel like with David Bautista's character, I forgot his name now. You think like, oh, his girl Whiskey's cheated on Miles. Really, everyone's character, of course. So you sort of think that, they're a bastard. He's taken my woman, of course. But actually, it gets revealed later on. They're doing it to get more views or get some recognition, because David Bautista is basically this sort of streamer or YouTuber, really. He lives with his girlfriend, but also his mother as well, which is hilarious. And his mum keeps interfering with, like, honey, I got your washing. Mom, I'm about, why do you always have to interfere? It's absolute. It's funny. The humor is, again, really good stuff. It's relatable modern humor. It's, again, but pretty good stuff. Again, David Bautista is good. I haven't seen much of his films. I saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, and obviously Spectre as Mr. Hinks, obviously. But I haven't seen much more of him. I don't think, really. But I think he's pretty good. Edward Norton's always great. I think he has a more, I would say more of a. I look at him and feel like, he's a very serious actor, really. He does have a bit of again, like Daniel Craig in a way. He's like, he loosens up a bit in this film, of course. And but the cast do really good stuff. They do, obviously, and they do bring out some good music as well. I mean, the Close with Glass Onion, obviously, the Beatles song, obviously, and I think they do, and obviously the Bee Gees, to love somebody, plays out through the centre of the film when they get into the dining film, obviously. But it just plays out really good. Interestingly, good direction. It starts off. It leads you to the main thing first. Then it sort of twists you in the head. It does that interesting twist. It does. It's like, oh, and this character is like, oh, I see. It's like, oh, so that's not her, but it's her sister. As a sister, them two are screwing Miles, their long friend. And also you got them, they're sort of past as well, because the Glass Onion used to be a bar that they met up with and had had a business arrangement with, really. And everything sort of fell apart, obviously. And actually they killed one of their partners, or actually Miles' girlfriend, really, to their house, really. It was all, again, pretty set up, really. I think it's, and also the boxes as well, what do you think? Yeah, the puzzle boxes, of course, like that, and obviously Benoit gets it, of course. You feel like, oh, he's invited for some reason, isn't he? Like, he's got the box and he gets invited, which people look and feel like, hang on, him, what's he doing here? And obviously, but obviously it's a plan, really, as well, a plan, really, again, for Annie's sister, really. Really good as well, because it does bring out, none of them get killed or anything else, so like, there's no revenge thing, of course. You murder my sister, you get stabbed in the chest or whatnot, or anything else, or you have a fiery death. There is fire in it, of course, like a blazing inferno at the end, but it's her smashing up, you know, the glass and also burning the actual living Mona Lisa that Miles has had in his possession, and you know, literally, it's and it's all these like in conclusion, and they basically sit there. It's like what, guys. It's like, oh, shut up, shut the fuck up, and that's the whole thing. It's like they basically sort of turn on him. I think towards the end, really. While he's home, his island is sort of burning down. Really, again, really good stuff. A really good film. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I did, because I think I was on night shift on Christmas Eve. It was, so I basically ended up watching Knives Out at it just out of curiosity, really. Just saying, oh, this has been released, so I might as well watch it. Had a good time, enjoyed it. I'm interested to see what because I think they greenlit a third film actually, so I'm interested to see what Ryan Johnson does with the third one as well. I probably need to revisit the first one as well, just in case. But Glass Onion, I really enjoyed. Really good stuff. So if you haven't checked it out, give it a watch. If you haven't, maybe if you've seen the first one, watch the second one. I don't know, or if you haven't seen them both, give it a watch. Really, it's it'll be this interesting franchise, the Knives Out franchise, and it's what it all is. It's turned into that now. Again, really good stuff. Good cast. I'm interested to see what cast members are going to do with the third one as well. Obviously, Daniel Craig's improvement of his southern accent is pretty good. I think in this one, he's more improved. It's more refined. It is. I think it is so refined in the first. It's obviously refined and reflected in the first one, really. But I think in this one, I don't know. I think he's found the sort of timing of it, the pitch really of it, really. The magic of it, doing the southern accent, which you never expect an actor Daniel Craig to do. You can probably see him as doing a typical American accent, but a southern accent. That's interesting. So there we go, guys. That is Glass Onion and Knives Out Story, or Knives Out Glass Onion, or something, whatever you want to call it. Thank you guys for watching. See you for the next video.